stupid pricing in a way, and we know what it's for. Let's be honest, right? It's
Oh
to
yeah.
drive traffic.
Next battle, I'ma better go, we doing better. If I ever lose, set it on, first and never. If I ever lose, set it on, we doing better. Even more goes again. Bigger, bolder, faster.
Welcome back to the channel. Mark Turcotte here. If you want more information on the Barrie real estate market, go in the description, hit the Calendly link, and book a time with myself, and we can have a chat.
Okay, so Mark, today we're going to talk about some January stats and what we're starting to see in February because we are definitely starting to see a bit of a shift.
We are. And if we look back a little bit on last year, because it's important, but it's not important, because in my mind, 2022 kind of was, it all came down, all happened in 21, and then it kind of came back down to normalization in 22. But when we talk about some numbers looking at January, February, March, the first quarter of 2022, that was the peak. So when people are going to start to see the stats coming out on the Facebook feeds in the next week when the BDR gets them out, don't be alarmed because we are up against some crazy, crazy numbers. And I
Yeah,
think
so this
things are going up.
January, we had 87 solds, 7 over list price, 5.7% sold over a million, 20 condos sold, 61 detached, 17 townhouses. So in January, 87 solds. It's not terrible.
It's not terrible at all. In the communication I'm getting from other colleagues and even in the city and outside the city is we got buyers just can't find product or good product, we could say, that the buyers are looking for. So I personally think, you know what, those numbers are decent for January, all considering.
Inventory is still really, really low.
Right. And, I think it's going to stay low because if you think about it for a second, all those people in January and, that sold in February, those people that were going to list, typically most list in March or April, saw those crazy numbers. And what happened after the kids went back to school for March break last year? Tons and tons of product came on the market all at once. It was like, wow, where did this come from? Because they saw all the numbers in January and February going at the peak. Well, we might as well get in now and see if we can get that. And they didn't get that, right? As we can see, we've seen lots of price reductions, lots of products sitting on days on market, et cetera, et cetera. That inventory didn't really turn around. That inventory took some months to turn. Once the sellers went, well, I guess I'm not going to get that price that, Sally and
Well,
Billy got.
and now, if I sell now, last year at this time, interest rate was 1.79. If I sell now, I'm at almost 5.
Correct. Correct. So
So
big shift.
my mortgage payments are going to go up huge, even if I'm trying to downsize. Forget about upsizing. Upsizing, it's going to go through the roof now.
It is, but there's still, looking at some of the news that came out in the last 2 weeks about, and it's been a hot topic that I've seen on some of my social media platforms, is about, I think in Canada, 34% of the people own their homes outright. There's a lot of people are sitting on a lot of equity. So, and I think it was in Alberta, I saw today, where 50% of the homeowners own their homes outright.
Holy shit.
That's an astonishing number. Like I almost fell over when I saw that number.
That's a lot.
So, if we look back and see those ones that are sitting on, that, bought at the peak, well, we know they're not selling anytime soon. That's not
No.
happening. But the people that may be trading up, that bought maybe in 15, 14, 16, maybe even 17, 18, maybe they've had a couple kids where, we need more space. Absolutely, they will. And
Well, and don't you think a lot of people are starting to get the feeling? Well, there's two things. They're going to change the lending rates in April. They're going to change the rules, and I think it's going to come into effect by June. And then we also have we hit the bottom? Because we're starting to see some multiples and over asking again.
yeah, I think we hit the bottom last year. I don't think the bottom's an issue anymore. Right. I think that's done. I mean, is I should done on certain price ranges, we'll say, right? When we talk, entry level, all kinds of demand, mid level, okay, higher level for our market in Barrie in Simcoe County, call it 1.5 call it 1 million to 1.5. I think that's going to be compressed more. Looking at the stats that 6% of the inventory or less than 6% of inventory in those price ranges is selling. And that's with multiple decreases and days on market. I did a number, I think it was 144 days on market for January in that, of course, they're detached properties. That's a long time. So that seller was trying several months before selling it.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
think
and you know
that will
what? I was going to do showings last week, and I booked the showings on Thursday, and by Saturday, when my clients were coming, they were both sold, and one had three offers on it.
what was the price
And
point?
they've been there, Mark. They're over 1 million, and they've been there for over 3 months. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 they're all gone.
Do you think possibly, because we're going to get diving deep, but I think it's a good time to mention this into right now. When I pulled up the stats for, not stats, the numbers sold in February for North York, and we're talking East Gwillimbury, Bradford, Newmarket, Aurora, Richmond Hill, Markham, and Vaughan, 174 sales. And I think it was 37% of them sold over list price. And we're not
38.
talking
Yeah, 30.
38%.
Well, if you round it up, yeah. I have
Sure.
it. Yeah, think about that. So 38% in our just north of us are going over asking in February. We're only 11 days in.
Correct. So, and when I looked at those numbers, again, I didn't go through all days on market. It was a quick glance. We're not talking 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. We're talking a couple 100,000. So when you think about it, a lot of those buyers, let's just call them, 38% of that market got lucky and got the house. What about all the other ones that threw in offers as well? They may get frustrated. They may say, you know what? God, for 1.2 or $1 million, I can go 45 minutes north and get all I want plus plus plus. So I think we possibly could see that shift. Just no different than we saw when those GTA markets were humming along in COVID times. It pushed buyers up here. We saw it all. We've been seeing that for years. I
Years.
think it's going to continue to see that. We're just not a market that people are running to right now. We're Think about it. We've had a couple of doozy snowstorms in the last couple of weeks where highways closed down, and like
Oh, it's been terrible. Yeah.
they're terrible. So they're going to wait a little bit to see. But looking at the board and looking at those solds that we've gone through, 90% of them are all Toronto agents.
Yeah.
They are
Well, and
bringing the
think about
people up.
this. So in January, we had 87 solds, right?
Correct.
In the last 14 days, so
What do you
three
get? What
days of January, I have 61 sales.
61 sales. It's quite a bit.
In
Right.
14 days when January had 87
Yeah.
total.
Yeah.
And 16% of them sold full or over asking already in
Yeah.
Barrie.
Yeah. We're starting to see the games come back, right? We're starting to see stupid pricing in a way, and we know what it's for. Let's be honest, right? It's
Oh,
to
yeah.
drive traffic. There's nothing else. But when I see some of these solds get reported, let's face it, it's still market value. We're
Yeah.
not seeing, oh, it sold great. It looks great on paper that it sold, 150,000 over asking. Yeah, but the goddamn property was priced at 500 and they got 650. Like that's the market value at the end of the day.
Well, yeah. And we're seeing that now in Barrie too, with a couple of them where, you know, there was a post today about lineups at open houses, but the house was priced way below market value. Like I actually have a listing that's comparable kind of to that, and
Right.
we're over 100,000 more. Like
Right.
it's way below.
Right.
So, I mean, will it drive traffic to price it way lower? Yeah, now it is. And maybe you get some leads, right? Maybe you get some
Maybe,
buyers.
maybe not. But how frustrating was that for buyers, in the peak of last year and even into, late 2021? They hated competing like that. They hated it. We've all
Well,
had them. Are they all going to come back and do that? No, they're not.
well,
When
I have some buyers now. They won't do it at all.
Mhm.
Like if it's oh, so we're gonna have a bidding war, then I'm
I'm
out.
out.
They don't.
Right.
Yeah, they won't even get in it.
No, no. So I don't know if that strategy will come. Well, it is back now. How long will it last? I don't know. But
Oh, it's gonna be interesting to see what they sell for some of these properties. There's one on Burbank that a Toronto agent listed, and it's a semi, and it's not terrible inside.
mhm,
Like it's been up some updates. 399.
399. And what's the market? Because I don't know that street well. What's the market value on that?
Well, that's the one that, remember, I bought a house and fixed it up and sold
Mhm.
it.
Yeah,
685 at the end of 2021.
right.
Probably maybe 550 now
Yeah, probably.
because the market's gone down over 100, right? Probably.
Yeah, and
But
that's right.
399 is a joke.
It's a joke, right? It's a joke. So, I don't know. That'll be interesting to see what happens. But if we get product coming available, and to me, I think it's way, way too early to call it the way it's going. Right? Yes, in GTA markets, we're seeing 37% inventory getting sold over list price. We're seeing a fraction of that here, but as more inventory comes available, will that strategy work anymore? I don't know. Will there be more buyers to scoop up those listings? I don't know. I just think it's way too early to call it right now. And I'm getting questions. Where's it going? Where's it going? And are they going to go here? I'm hoping to get a deal. Well, I think that buyer today hoping to get a deal out there is gone.
I
Getting a
agree.
deal on a price that's priced over a million and above, there's some opportunity for someone that can say, I'm okay. We're trading up. This is going to be the forever home for the next 15 to 20 years. Jump on it because they're not going anywhere. They're safe.
Well, and I don't think that like most listings are being priced at proper market value. Most of them
Yeah.
are.
Yes.
So like 70% sold 96 to 99% of the original list price
Right. Yeah.
in the last 14 days.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, most people are pricing at market value
Correct.
and they're selling very, very close to list.
Correct.
If you're going to go way below market value, then of course you're going to get way over. Now, the 16% that sold full price or over, none of them sold over by a lot, eh?
No, I noticed that. I
They
noticed
were
that.
they sold over by a little bit. So
Correct.
they weren't really underpriced though, you
They
know?
weren't. They weren't. No, they weren't. Not stupidly underpriced. So say
No.
something that's what I mean, and let's call it's okay. Well, let's price at 599, but market value's 650. That's market, and it maybe sell for 655. Okay, that's kind of
Yeah.
still market value. We're not
Yeah.
seeing 599 turn into 700 or 750. No, no. If people think that demand is going to come back, they're on crack because it's not happening. Not this year. There's no way it's happening. The only way we will see something like that happen, in my mind, if we see interest rates going down. And looking at the job numbers that came out last Friday of 150, I think it was 115,000, 150. I can't remember. Whoa, it blew the socks off the expectations. And same with the US. So that labor market's pretty strong. I still think there's going to be inflationary pressures this year for sure. Well, there's no way the Feds are lowering rates. I don't think this year.
Well, and you know what? It's all going to depend, I think a lot of it on, so do the bidding wars start happening? Do we start seeing things going over because there's no supply? Every single
Right.
time this happens, like in 2017, it was the same thing. It was like after Easter, there was 1,000 listings all of a sudden. It was like boom, 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 because there in January, February, March, there were wars. People were
Correct.
getting high prices,
It's normal. Yep.
and everybody was like, we got to cash out. We got to cash out now. And
Mhm.
like everybody listed.
Mhm.
And then last year, same thing happened.
It was the same thing.
All of a sudden,
Right.
there was bidding wars, high prices. Everybody was like, boom, boom, boom. We got to sell now. We got to sell now. That's the only way I think we're going to get a huge amount of inventory. I don't think people are going to list in this market with the interest rate unless they see the bidding wars again and they see these high prices and they think, holy crap, I better cash out right now.
Maybe, but cash out in which way? Cash out. If that's persons that's sitting on 25 years, they live in their house, it's paid off, and maybe we're moving to Florida for 6 months and then we're going to get a condo here. Yeah, do it. But, I think that buyer or seller last year, sorry, would have probably should have did that last year. Will they do it this year? If they're going to buy something, it's the old saying, sell high, buy high. Just
Well, you know what I was
doesn't
thinking
matter.
is, say all the people that overpaid at the end of 2021 and early 2022, and they see that they lost like 200,000 or 150,000, are they all of a sudden going to think, you know what, I can get 100, like my house just went up 100 now in the last couple months, maybe I should cut my losses now because at
No,
least I made some back.
no. Why would they want to cut their losses? I'll disagree with that because I don't think
I don't know.
if that seller's in a pinch, if that seller's in a pinch financially or something like that, maybe they're in a crap mortgage product, and you know, maybe, but not everybody's in that position, right? So
No.
and again, I think we talked about this on an episode before where I got a call. This was from an agent getting all kinds of, oh, you should sell now, get out of there. It's going to crash another 30%. She was getting so much information coming, clouding her judgment. But where are you going to go? Oh, I'm going to rent. Well, rent's going to cost you more than what you're paying your mortgage right now. So why would you sell? This doesn't make any sense,
No,
right?
I
So,
know.
and you think about it. So all those people that overpaid, and there was a lot of sales done, in 21 and 22, they're not selling this year.
No.
Let's face it, they're not selling. So that's going to really squeeze the inventory. The ones that are selling probably got 10, 15 years of equity sitting there. We're done. We paid X amount of dollars for it. We can still make a good buck. We're selling, we're moving to a condo and we're putting a half a million or so in the bank or doing whatever. Yeah, I think you're going to see that, right? I do, and I don't think that's going to change anywhere. And we're looking at the solds right now. That's 700 range and down, or even called 7 to 8 range. That's a hot range for this community, and I think that's going to continue to make things attractive. When I was going through those lists of homes in Richmond Hill, just scanning through them, I'm seeing townhomes 1.2,
I know.
1.4, 1.6. I didn't
I know.
stop and look at pictures and size and all that, but wow, that's astronomical amount of money.
No, I know. I have a buyer that wants an end unit townhouse down in there, Bradford, Newmarket, Aurora area, and it's crazy. Like it was up to 1,112 last year. It went
Mhm.
down to 1,950 ish, 975s.
Mhm.
And I told her, well, like I don't know if it's going to go down anymore. And
Right.
she says, well, that's a crazy price and blah, blah, blah. Well, we are now back up into the 1 1s and 1 2s up there.
Yep. Yep. I
We
see.
are.
Yep.
So there was a little dip.
Yep.
And, this is a problem with buying real estate and investing is this, right? Is when do you get in? Like trying to time that dip, it's the same as like buying stocks. Trying to time the dip, is very difficult.
It is, and I don't really think you have a lot of time on your side to when you're going to get in, when it makes sense for you. And I think people that are getting into property stay aren't looking at now is a good time. I think they backed off last year, not because interest rates rose to the moon, based on fear only. That's what I see. Now that fear's kind of subsided a little bit, right? We're seeing people come back to the market. We're seeing, oh, look how many people are waiting in line to come into my open house. Look at what's sold over list price that way. They're coming back a bit. They're coming back. They're competing. We're
Well,
seeing that.
and don't you think that people, it sounds funny, but don't you think that they kind of get used to the fear, or we had low rates for so long, everybody was in this false sense of security.
I do,
And
but
now though, we're used to them going up now. We're used to already adjusting and they already have new approval rates.
mhm.
And like people are used to it now. They've accepted it.
Well, that's it. And they knew these rates weren't going to last forever, right? That's the big thing. So, and when they raised the rates there, 2 weeks ago, now they're going to be more data dependent and just let's just see. We're not going to see another rate hike for a couple months, and I don't think we will see too many more less inflation goes up. And I'm concerned with that still, right? I'm concerned with the gas. Look at the fluctuations in gas over the last week.
I
Up,
know.
down, up, down, up, down. Food prices are still stupid. Labor market's so tight. So I don't know. It's going to
Oh,
be
I have one thing that's going to go down.
what's that?
Rental costs.
Rental costs are going to go down.
They already are. People are now dropping the prices of their units and their houses.
Right. Because of supply. There's a lot of supply in the market right now.
Yep. There's a million of them out there.
Right.
And I've noticed townhouses now at 24, 23, 25, like full houses that last year were like 3 grand.
Yep.
They're
Yep.
dropping because
Right.
there's over 100 listings. And I mean, if you want to get your house rented, there's so many out there. You need to start dropping because you're losing money every single month.
I agree. And I see the same thing that you're seeing. And I don't do a lot of rentals, but you watch that market more than I do. You know, my biggest thing is that where's it going to go come April, right? Where's this going to go? And I think the inventory is going to be tight. I think it's going to be tight. I think we're going to those buyers sitting on the couch last year are going to start coming back. I don't think they're going to come back full force. But if you looked at those stats in Toronto, I mean, again, I should have spent some more time on it. I'm telling you, I was blown away. I was blown away at some of the numbers.
Well,
So
and you know what? Honestly, those are the people buying here. I mean, you and I have been doing this a long time, and most, like probably 90% of our listings are GTA buyers.
100% they are. They are.
So if the market's doing well there, we're going to have some buyers up here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As soon as our weather starts to get more like spring, another month will really tell the story for the year. Bottom line. We've seen this every year lately, right? For many, many
Yep.
years. January, February, pretty hot. No inventory, great time to list. They're not lying. It is a good time to list. It kind of sets the tone for the rest of the year, but will it set the tone come March and April? And I don't think there's going to be an influx of listings like there was last time. Because last year we were against crazy pricing and people were going, now is the time. This is a cash out time. And they missed it. How many people
Yeah.
how many people have you talked to this year alone going, God, I wish we would have listed it back in February or back in March. Look at the
Mark,
time.
I was talking to an agent who has a listing that last year she got a $1.3 million firm offer and she didn't take it. And they ended up taking it off the market and just relisted, a couple months back. And
Mhm.
she's down to 115 already.
Yeah. And she probably won't get 115.
No.
Bottom line.
And I had that Innisfil listing where I had 3 or 4 offers at that 850 mark, and now it's probably a 750 if that. And they didn't
Yeah,
take
that
it,
one on
right?
Benson. Yeah, that one on Benson was a cute property. I think you'd be
Not the
750.
not the one on Benson, the one in Stroud that I never did sell
Oh, okay.
because they never took the offer.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see that this year, right? That was we've seen a lot of terminations last year in the marketplace of, well, I'm not going to get, I want that or I'm not selling.
Yeah,
Then they turn it down. And then they say, well, we're not getting a price. So, we're not going to sell right now.
we're gonna
Okay.
wait.
We're going to wait. And they're not selling this year. That's for sure. Because if they looked at the market or they called you and said, hey, what's it doing, Diane? Or can I get that dollar? No, you can't. Don't even try.
No,
Don't waste your time trying
no,
because it's
no.
going to happen.
Well, I'm having the problem with the buyers now too, because I have a couple buyers who think it's going to keep dropping,
It's
and
not.
they've been holding steady for 3 or 4 months. They're not dropping, and
No,
now
they're not
now
dropping.
on the Barrie stats last week, there's a little upswing.
100%. We're seeing it we're only 11 days in February. We have what 47 listings sold. I'm telling you, yeah, there is a bit of an uptick. Will the uptick keep going? Well, we'll be having further chats about that as we progress through the year. But
You
you
know
know,
what? You know what I thought about the other day, which I think is going to be totally interesting, is now that we started doing the podcast last year, we're going to have like the history of what we thought, what we
Mhm.
uh what's the word for it, what our thoughts were and what we thought were going to happen,
Right,
and then we're going to be able to actually see what happened. So
yep,
we'll be able to gauge, like, were we right, were we wrong,
right,
and it'll be interesting to go back and see what the market was. Like, think about it, if we were doing this last year at this time, we'd be like, oh my God, Mark, 10 houses over asking $200,000.
yeah. That was
Like,
conversation. Yep,
right? The
yep,
conversation would have been totally different.
yep.
And now year over year, you're going to be able to go back and see.
Well, that's it, right? And this again, I think every seller today should erase 2021 and the first quarter of 2022 because it was such a blip, right? And you look at a financial market that always reacts way sooner than a real estate market. Some of these big, gigantic blue chip companies went back to 2018, 2019, 2020 pricing. Like, whoa, they came down like a ton of bricks. And then, the real estate market kept doing its thing and eventually kept coming down and coming down. And then it hit a stable bottom. And I think we got this stable bottom not 3 months ago. I'm thinking 6, 7 months ago in the lower ranges,
Yeah.
right? And, you know,
Well, can I tell you too? In 2017, I did do a purchase and a sell, and I sold that house in 2019. That market stayed from April 2017 almost until COVID hit. We didn't go up.
not
It,
huge.
it, it stayed that like
Not
the
huge.
same price and level for like 2 years.
And then 2020 came along. We thought then we seen COVID hit. And we thought, oh my God, what's going to happen? Real estate paused and just went, whoa, this is going to the basement. And then 6 weeks later, it starts skyrocketing.
Yeah.
That was bananas.
Craziest thing. It was the
Crazy,
craziest thing. But I
craziest thing.
mean, when we went lower last time, we hit like, a plateau. It
Mhm.
stayed there for a long time.
Yeah, I think it was pretty steady though. We've seen some decent numbers still coming out. We didn't see any drops. We've seen some upticks throughout the years.
Well, I
Nothing
lost.
stupid if we're comparing it to COVID times and these times that we're getting out of now, 100%. But I don't think it didn't go stupid. But I think you're right.
I
It just
lost
kind of
40 grand when I sold that house.
yeah. But that was the
And I
market then,
sold it I sold it a year and a half later. So it's not like all of a sudden and I bought it in a low. Like across the street 6 months earlier sold for $1 million.
right?
And I paid just over 7. I bought it where I thought it was already the lowest,
Right.
and it wasn't.
But Kathleen Wynne changed the mortgage lending rules. Where Canadian Mortgage Housing Corp, because I remember I sold house 17 as well, that they're only going to insure 25-year amortization.
Yeah.
That impacted the market, and it's still having so we kind of it kind of goes down a bit and then it kind of get used to it, and now we're really, really used to it. But as these home prices, and we all know they're going to keep going up. Certain things, I don't understand why we are trying to tighten. These aren't the tightening times for making people qualify.
Well,
Let's be
so
honest.
In April the new rules are coming out, and they're supposed to be tightening again
Well, they
the
shouldn't
rules.
be tightening because
But
that makes
listen,
no
it's
sense.
not going to come into effect till June or July.
Okay, so maybe we'll see a robust kind of second quarter, and then maybe come summer, it peters
Yeah.
out a bit quieter. But again, when we saw, if you look back from the affordability standpoint of how much those home prices inflated, it wiped out a lot of people to get into this marketplace. Those are the ones that are hurting. It's that young generation that's hurting to get in the marketplace. If
Yeah.
someone's already in the market today, they're not hurting. They're in
No,
it.
I know.
They have equity. So we talk about home ownership and how it's so important to Canadians and blah, 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 blah. And then the government just kills it.
Hmm.
Kills it. That's not right. When we look at the US, who have on average 5% delinquency in mortgages, and we have 0.14. So that's 99.86% people paying their mortgage on time or not delinquent. Why do we
I
need
know.
why do we need to tighten?
It's
We
just
don't.
nonsense.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it
So
is.
I don't know. That really frustrates the shit out of me. I just don't get who's making these policies and keep talking about how important it is for people to get into a home when the average age first time buyer is 36. Holy shit.
I know.
That's living in mom and dad's, and how many, and I know friends that they're living with me. My neighbor, his son's living with him. Kids must be 30, but he's trying to save for a house. Guy's an electrician trying to
I know.
save for a house.
You know what's funny? Like years ago, that was middle age, right?
That was
Like
middle
your
age.
life was already half over by then.
Usually you were married, maybe a kid. You were kind of now these people can't afford to have a family. They don't have a house. They're not set up.
No,
Not
exactly.
set up. And and when you look at these, okay, the rates have gone up, yes, but that had to happen. But why do we have a 2% stress test in still? What does that makes no sense either. So now it's that people qualifying, and then we talk about inventory. We've had this discussion many times. So we'll say an average seller maybe been home 5 or 6 years. Okay, great. We want to trade up because we need an extra bedroom, and they go, "Holy shit! I'm only paying 1,300 on my mortgage now. Now that's going to be 1,800. Oh, and I got to qualify this 2%. Oh, maybe we stay put." That's what I'm scared of, right? With that, people that might really impact their inventory levels this market.
But
We don't know.
don't you think that the reason our delinquency rate is so low is because we had the stress test?
100%. 100%.
People were approved to pay a lot more, and they
100%.
can.
100%. So why do we still need it though? Right?
Well, in my mind,
Or
because
change, or maybe change. Okay, so maybe keep it in. Maybe keep that 2% in, we'll say. But let's change amortization.
exactly.
So we still want to make sure they pay it, but let's maybe bring back the 35 or 40-year amortization, because you know what? It's going to come back. It
Well,
has
and
to.
and let's be real. Does anybody these days ever pay their house off? Ever?
Well, apparently so by the numbers. Yeah, they do.
Well,
But
some old people do, but us, the younger generation, they're going to move two or three times in their lifetime. They're never going to pay off their first or second house.
oh God, no, that's never going to happen. No, no, and
No.
that's never going to happen. That's nobody. Maybe
Yeah.
come their third or fourth house after they've gained some equity and paid it down, and it's gone up, and they've downsized maybe or moved to geographical different areas. Yeah, they're going to pay it off. But in the first
Exactly.
15 years, let's
The first time home buyers,
15,
they're
16
never
years,
paying
20,
theirs off.
they're never
Why
paying it.
not go to a 40-year AM or whatever? As long as they can afford it and pay the bills, what's the difference?
I remember I went into a 40-year amortization back in 2006. I traded up from a house that I bought on loan. What did I pay for that? I think I paid 203. Paid 203. Avery came along, busy street. I think I sold it for 212. I think a couple grand. Time of the real estate was down a couple grand. And then I went to a $340,000 mortgage, but the payment was very close. So I traded up huge in neighborhood. But what does everybody look at? They don't look at the goddamn price. It's all about the payment.
Exactly.
So great. It's only this much more. Count me in. Let's do it. So
That's the thing that worries me right now too. Is that if they do the math and they're going from a 1.79 or a 1.8, even a 2.2, and they're going up to almost 5 now for locked in, depending on your down payments. Some of them are over 5. Um, that's a huge difference. We're not talking $100 or $2 here. It's a huge difference.
huge. So as these home prices come more, because we've all talked about this, and most of the public know we're in a housing crisis, and we're immigration, and this and this and this and this and this. We don't have enough homes for everybody to meet demand in the future. So we know low supply prices are going to go up. Like, that's 101. So we can forecast that, right? If we look back, it's almost like again, take out the crazy COVID years, it's almost every 10 years things double. And sometimes they
Yeah.
double a little bit before, right? And we've seen the
Yeah.
big swings, right? So, on average, let's just say 10. Okay, my house is going to double. I know, and back when we were doing more first time buyer homes for younger people, I didn't stress it enough. No, sorry, I stressed it so much. Look at trying to pay this puppy off. This is 100% capital gain free.
Yeah.
Go to your weekly, go to accelerated, pay your prepayment privileges if you got extra money, because they're going to trade up in
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Get that asset paid down, build some equity into it, right? So, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing where this market's going to go in 2023.
I'm
I think in a
excited
few
too.
months.
I'm actually excited to see. Now, I'm not excited for my buyers because right now we're in a shittier position, but I'm excited to see what happens because,
Hmm,
I don't think anybody really knows right now. And we're all just waiting
100%.
on the edge to see,
We
is
are.
the inventory going to spike or isn't it?
We are. We are. And that's going to be the telling tale.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be. And if some of those buyers come back, which we know it started already, I think, this will be a decent year for people to either sell or jump back in the market, right?
Yeah.
Because you still think about it. They're still, you know what I mean? Again, we're kind of going back to that first timer, but, they're still paying on average 2K a month for something decent, whether
Yeah.
it's a two-bedroom or three-bedroom. That's a lot of money.
Well, and the rent is still higher than that too.
100%. And that's probably in the low end. Like say
Yeah.
a three-bedroom townhome's, probably $2,300,
Yeah.
three bedrooms, right? So, you know, it's going to be an interesting, spring this year versus last spring where everything was stupid, right? Right in
Yes.
2021, stupid. So I don't think we're seeing stupid, but I think we're going to see better results than last year, where the fear's gone. Now we're starting to say, oh, it's not that bad out there. RBC raised their housing forecast, and oh wow, there's lots of people that are not sitting on high mortgage debt. It's all sentiment of the market,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Well,
So
that's what I mean. I think everybody's kind of getting used to, and we're kind of in the groove now. They're not terrified like they were last year.
no, and you look at the fears, the unknown, as we know it, but we're looking at we're in February now. We're still seeing solid employment. So when we're seeing solid employment, people are working. It's a good sign. We're not
Yeah.
saying, oh God, we lost 85,000 jobs, or oh God, the unemployment rate is 9%. Those are bad times.
Yeah.
We're at historic lows. The US is at a 53-year low for unemployment. 53 years.
Wow.
I don't know what Canada, 'cause I didn't really check it. But when I saw the job numbers come out last week, I went, holy cow. Things aren't that bad. Things aren't
No,
that bad out there.
they're
Yes, the cost
not.
of everything's expensive, and yes, the fuel's up and down and the groceries are still expensive, but I don't know. I mean, it's
We're
a little
hanging in. We're all still hanging in.
we are. We are. And I
Yeah.
don't think you know, that's not going to change drastically, right? When we start to see some GDP numbers go down for 2 or 3 consecutive months, then maybe we'll see some decreases. But I don't think we're going to. Not with these crazy job numbers. What happens if we get crazy job numbers for February? Holy cow! I don't know. And you think about it. So I'm talking about the U.S. a lot because I follow their markets more. But corporate America, there's a lot of big companies that have cut back, cut back, cut back, cut back. The market is still expects them to turn increases all the time. So
Yeah.
they're getting more efficient. They're doing this. We have a labor shortage here. So what's coming on board? Well, more technology. You go to Walmart store, there's no more cashiers. They're all self-serve checkouts. They can't get goddamn people. So these companies are going to become more
Well,
profitable.
and no
More
more freaking bags, Mark. You can't get a shopping bag anywhere.
well, that's our stupid government for like that's mentally retarded as
And
far as I'm.
listen, how many times do you go into the store and you forget your bags in the freaking car?
I got so many bags I bought from Zara, not Zara, but Walmart. I probably got 50
Me too.
because I just forget them. I don't leave them in my car. I go, shit, not again.
Yep, me too.
You
I
know,
was
but
talking to my sister about it last weekend. She goes, "Don't even go there with me. I have about 30 in the house, and
yeah,
every time I go shopping, I forget. And
yeah,
then I have to buy more.
I got to buy more. I know
Got to buy more."
it doesn't make sense.
Well, we were paying for the bag anyway, Mark. They
Oh,
charge you 5 or 10 cents for the
yeah,
bag
yeah,
anyway. They're
yeah, yeah. When I was at Walmart, again, I haven't been there since '08 when I worked there. I remember doing bag orders for last maybe I don't know during the fourth quarter, 70,000 $70,000 for bag purchases. That's a lot of money.
wow.
That's a ton of money. That's when they were free, right?
Yeah,
Imagine
holy.
what these, yeah, like people don't understand the cost of that stuff, right? Is astronomical. So
Well,
Walmart,
I kind of
but
understand that, but when they started charging us 5 cents a bag or something, I thought, well, okay, well they got to be making money on these bags now. They're
they
not
might
paying
be.
5 cents a bag,
No, they're not. No, they're not.
so and then they get rid of them entirely
That was the government of Canada. That was Mr. Trudeau that
with the recycle stuff.
plastics,
Yeah.
oceans, blah 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 blah. You know, how about replace it with a paper bag? Hmm. Because
Okay,
now
Mark.
when I go shopping and I forget my bags, what do I do as a consumer? I'm buying it less. It's not my bag. And I'm so sick of buying 40
Okay,
billboard bags.
Foodland and Sobeys has gone to paper bags.
Yeah, it's good.
Do you know how many times they've broke open on the way into my house?
I know. I know.
One time I had Thea there and I had giant shopping bag paper. It breaks open. We got applesauces flying everywhere.
Yep.
She's laughing, chasing food. My dog's trying to grab the flipping food off the
Yep.
ground.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Like
know.
the paper bag is a nice idea.
Yep.
It is not practical for heavy groceries.
No, it's not. It's not. No. Okay, I think we should
Anyway,
wrap.
I think this will
Yeah.
be a wrap, and we'll go over the stats in a couple weeks and see where we're at.
Yeah, let's kind of, I think so, right? We kind of covered off a lot of material, what we've seen in January versus going through what's sold here and what's sold there. This gives the audience a better idea of what's going on in the market a little bit, what we're seeing from our perspective instead of just reading off a piece of paper of how many townhomes sell and what the average price is.
And
I
it'll
think,
be nice to see at the end of February if this little rise continues.
oh, well, yeah, I think so it's February now. Let's talk about that maybe in April and see. Let's give it two
Yeah,
months of data to kind of see. 'Cause that time we're full swing into spring kind of market. People are,
yeah,
snow is disappearing. Doesn't get dark till 7. People are feeling good. Yeah,
yeah,
right. And there's lots of people. Like I reached out to a buyer, one of my potential sellers now, saying, "Hey, this property sold in your neighborhood. Thought I'd let you know on it. Yeah, we're just keep an eye on things. We're on the fence about renting it or maybe holding it, and we're just watching." So I think there's a lot of people just watching right now and seeing where the pricing's going for the spring, and can I get that realistic number? And I gave them a number, and this couple is realistic with it, but let's just see if they can maintain that number or
yeah. It's going to be very, very interesting to see.